After weeks of speculation, questions, and mounting pressure from fellow Democrats, President Joe Biden says he will not run for a second term, the first sitting president in history to abandon his re-election bid so close to the election. His decision coming in a letter to the American people released at 1:46 this afternoon. His address to the nation, he says, will come later this week. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Sheba Russell. In that letter, the 81-year-old commander-in-chief said in part, quote, "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." His decision capping off what had been a tumultuous few weeks for the president. Mr. Biden facing calls to step aside after a widely criticized first debate with former President Donald Trump. President Biden then held a news conference at the end of the NATO summit, but it did little to slow the calls for him to drop out of the race amid polling showing Trump in the lead. And then today, as the president recovers from COVID at his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, came the bombshell news. He's out. Tonight, our team is spread out across the area as we cover this historic moment in American politics. We start off with our Kelly Rule. She's live in Rehoboth Beach. Kelly?
Well, Sheba, we know that Rehoboth Beach is a place the president comes to fairly frequently throughout the year, a place to escape Washington, D.C., to spend time with family, so many finding it fitting. It is here where he decided to make this monumental decision official today as he recovers from COVID-19. The opinions on this historic day getting some mixed reaction here. In a letter posted on social media, President Joe Biden announced he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race and endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris as his replacement, saying in part, quote, "It is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down." The historical move coming as he recovers from COVID-19 in his Rehoboth Beach home, a place where some don't think of him as the president, but as a local and a neighbor.
It seems like the right move. He's from here. This is his home. This is his comfort place.
On Rehoboth Avenue tonight, there's mixed reaction about the 81-year-old closing the door on 52 years in electoral politics. David Pierce wearing his Kamala Harris t-shirt.
I'm excited to have her run and be the head of our ticket. I'm excited to cast my vote for her. I think it was a hard decision for him, and I think his heart is breaking. He gave 50 years of service to our country and put the country first. And today, I think he put the country first again.
Now it just seems like they can put in who they want to, and I don't think that's a democratic process. So whoever it is, I don't think that it was done the right way.
The president's decision comes after a disastrous debate performance that kicked off a growing number of calls from fellow Democrats to step down from the race and GOP leaders calling on him to resign. Vice President Harris, now the frontrunner for the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination, thanked the president in a statement for his decades of service, calling it a selfless and patriotic act, and said in part, quote, "I will do everything in my power to unite the Democratic Party and unite our nation to defeat Donald Trump." Among the local reaction pouring in, Pennsylvania House Speaker Joanna McClinton saying the president's service will go down as one of the best in history.
There's never been a president to nominate a black woman, black and Asian, let me be specific, to be the presidential nominee for any party. What is happening is history unfolding. It's exciting to me as not only a voter, but as a woman who's made a little history herself.
As a superdelegate, Speaker McClinton does not get to vote at this year's DNC, but says PA Democratic Party Chairman Senator Sharif Street is making calls on pledging delegates to Vice President Harris. Voters in Rehoboth are mixed.
I think we can do it. I think Kamala Harris is going to bring in a lot of new voters.
I don't really think it matters who's on the Democrat ticket. I think he's my guy.
House Speaker Joanna McClinton telling me tonight she endorses Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro as Harris's running mate if she is in fact nominated. That's certainly one name that we have heard several times today, but of course nothing official yet. President Biden says he does plan to address the nation later this week. Sheba.
All right, Kelly Rule live for us in Rehoboth Beach, and our coverage continues tonight with our Greg Payne. He's live in Wilmington. Greg, how are voters reacting where you are?
Yeah, well, voters, they're reacting pretty much the same. But I got to tell you here, we've been on the riverfront in Wilmington. And, you know, this is an area that even though President Biden was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I mean, he calls this area, Wilmington, in the state of Delaware, his home. And many people are reacting to his decision today. As many took in the sights on the Wilmington riverfront, the sounds were about Wilmington resident, longtime Delaware senator, and President of the United States, Joe Biden, deciding to drop out of this year's presidential race.
I think with the last debate, it went so poorly, it doesn't surprise me. But at the same time, I feel like now there's even less of a choice for us.
It's time. It's sad that that this is the way it's going to end. But he's done a tremendous service to the constituents.
Biden serving his constituents here in Delaware for many years and is still the longest serving senator in the state of Delaware. Among the many political leaders in the first state reacting to Biden's decision, Delaware's Democratic Senator Chris Coons posting on X stating, "I'm so grateful for Joe Biden's decades of service to our nation and for his boundless optimism about what we can do together. Let's all take a moment and thank him for his striking record of accomplishments as president."
It's crazy what he's going through, and just pray that he gets through it.
He's a little old now. He just needs to relax. Come back here in Wilmington or go out to his beach in Rehoboth and just relax.
But many around the world and in Delaware are now asking the same question. What's next? Who will now square off against former President Donald Trump, which President Biden has already endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to step up and represent the Democrats in this year's presidential election.
And I'm pro Kamala. I think she's more than adequate. She's already in the space. Yeah. To me, that would be the obvious choice. I know it's bigger than that, but to me, she would be the obvious choice. She definitely has what it takes, as far as I'm concerned.
I think they already know what's going to happen next. They're just keeping it from us. And they probably already have a candidate in mind. They're going to make us feel like we have a choice, but I feel like we don't have a choice.
It's hard to tell. Not even sure. Whoever go against Trump, prepare for a fight.
Now, there are still a lot of questions that are still looming, but President Biden says in the coming week he will address some of those questions on the decision on him ultimately not being in the race any longer. Reporting live here in Wilmington, I'm Greg Payne, Fox 29 News.
And so we wait for that address. Greg, thank you. Tonight, it appears many Democratic leaders are following President Biden's lead in throwing their support behind Vice President Kamala Harris for the nomination. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, whose name is being floated as a possible Harris running mate, has endorsed the VP, writing in a statement, "I will do everything I can to help elect Kamala Harris as the 47th president of the United States." Meanwhile, in an interview on CBS News, which the network posted to their X account, co-chair of Biden's 2024 campaign and longtime friend, Delaware Senator Chris Coons, got emotional when asked about the president's decision.
Joe Biden is grounded. He's grounded in his faith, in his family, and in our state. Excuse me. I'm sorry. This was a very difficult decision, and one that I think reflects the very best of who Joe Biden is. Someone who, as you put it, Bob, comes home because it's where his strength is. His strength is in his family. His strength is in our community. His strength is in his faith.
Notably, former President Barack Obama, who chose Joe Biden as his running mate and VP, did not formally endorse Harris or anyone, but he did praise Biden, writing in a statement, quote, "We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges." Since President Biden dropped out of the race, former President Donald Trump has been active on Truth Social as he energizes his supporters with messages attacking President Biden and Democrats. Meanwhile, his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, posting on X, saying, quote, "President Trump and I are ready to save America. Whoever's at the top of the Democrat ticket, bring it on." Vance also calling for Biden to resign the presidency. Cheyenne, you're live in Bucks County tonight, the most purple of Philly's collar counties. Democratic and Republican power players can make all the endorsements they want, but of course this decision will ultimately be made by everyday Americans in November. And it sounds like voters where you are, Cheyenne, they're still trying to digest this news.
Hi, Sheba. Well, from voters, we heard what you would expect to hear in such a purple county. To put it simply, whoever that Democratic nominee is needs to win here. I mean, as you said, Bucks County is a key swing area. But now with President Joe Biden dropping out of the race, will this area swing the other way?
This is the United States. This is America. We're a strong country, but we're not strong right now. This is the weakest I feel like we've been in a long, long time.
Pessimism is at an all-time high for some voters in Bucks County after President Joe Biden announced he is ending his re-election campaign.
You're just going to grab somebody. It's almost like a fantasy football type of politics going on.
But others are staying hopeful that the Democratic Party has a trick up their sleeves, despite not having a presumptive presidential nominee nearly 100 days before Election Day.
Whoever replaces him as the Democratic candidate, I'm going to vote for, I'm sure.
Make America great again.
This stark contrast among voters in the Purple County is why the suburban area is one of the most watched places this election.
What we have to choose from in this country, it's not good.
Biden won Bucks County by about 4 points in 2020, but now with him out of the race and endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris, will the swing county swing her way?
I would prefer that there be another candidate instead of Kamala. I just don't think she's prepared yet for this.
I think that she has a strong chance. I think that with her being a woman, a lot of people are kind of turned off by that. But yeah, I hope to see her succeed as, like the first woman president.
17-year-old Bridget Foley will be casting her vote for the first time in November, in an election many say is like no other.
I think I wish it was a more easy decision for me. I think that, both of the candidates aren't really an easy pick for me.
And something just to note is that the last large event that happened here for President Biden was actually organized by Governor of California, Gavin Newsom. And while he was here, he said that if President Biden dropped out of the race, that he would not be running for president. And as of today, it sounds like he is sticking to his word because he is backing the vice president, but she will need a running mate, and he is on some of those short lists. I'm live in Bucks County. I'm Cheyenne Karen, Fox 29 News. Back to you, Sheba.
All right, Cheyenne, thank you.